they just don't do that well during your springtime. It's a bit too warm. If you should plant them in the fall months, they will come in for the cooler time for you. And then hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Country Mora here. If you're new, welcome. We're now approaching spring, and what spring signifies to the garden, it's a new year. It means life for your garden and things that you're going to be growing. So now in January, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in and start cleaning out some of these larger things in the garden to make space for the things that I'm going to be planting in my spring garden season. What I'm mostly getting rid of are the broccolis. A lot of people don't like growing broccoli because at the end of it you get some big plants, and most time people don't get a lot of large broccoli head from them. So many gardeners will tell you that they rather go into the store and buying their broccolis. But the beauty about broccolis and here in Central Florida gardening is that throughout the fall months, a whole lot of things that won't do well in the cooler season, broccoli is one of them that will thrive here in Central Florida or in most places during the cooler season. So I just plant according to the seasons. So if it's brassicas for the cool season, I will go with my classic brassicas for the cool season. And then for the warmer seasons in my garden, I will go ahead and plant things that complement the warm season. So the garden is not about me, it's about the plants that I'm planting inside of it mostly. So because of that, I'm just going to be pushing back this garden as much as possible now in January. And this week is going to be a cold week for us in Central Florida here. I think on Friday it's going to be the coldest we have been since 2022. I think we're going down to about 32, they say. So that should come with a lot of frost and maybe even burning some of your garden plants. So I'm just going to go ahead, but those temperatures won't affect your broccoli, your cauliflower. They just won't affect any of your brassicas, so we're still good. I still have bell pepper here. These may get set back, but I'm going to plant a new set of bell pepper for the spring seasons anyway. But I'm just coming in and getting rid of everything that I don't want to have in here for the spring season. Broccolis, I won't be growing any broccoli for the spring season unless it's a volunteer or something like that, or I get a wrong plant. That's the only way I'll be having a broccoli in my spring garden. Broccolis are for the fall garden for me here in Central Florida. This eggplant right here, we have some fruit on it. I'm just going to remove them, and then I'm just going to be removing this plant in its entirety. It has a bit of mildew on it or mold, so I'm going to get it off and put in a fresh plant, and that should be good for my spring month. Cutting a plant like this back or getting rid of it with all these molds, dark spot and mildew on it will just help me in my spring garden with less pests, because after spring or closely in the middle of spring, when we start warming up here in Central Florida, that's when you start getting a lot of your pest load or your pest pressure start to show up in your garden here in Central Florida. So if you can get rid of plants like these with maybe some white flies on them, that will be good for the garden also. So it's always best to start over with certain plants than fighting through with them. In removing most of these plants from the garden and harvesting what is on them also helps with airflow in the garden. Also, you get more sunlight hitting the floor of your garden, which you're gonna need for the spring months, especially if you're starting from seed in the garden. That soil is going to need to warm up a bit. I said I won't be going in with any broccolis for the springtime, but here I'm cleaning up, and here's a broccoli seedling that I found in the garden, so I'm going to have to plant that one. I'm not going to do away with it, so one won't hurt. But overall, intentionally, I'm not going in with broccolis, cauliflower for my spring season here in Florida. They just don't do that well during your springtime. It's a bit too warm. If you should plant them in the fall months, they will come in for the cooler time for you, and then you'll get a good harvest from those. So for my spring garden, what I normally do, I plant things that will thrive throughout spring and also can manage a bit of heat or some warmness. I'm getting these old cucumber vines off this trellis also, or this cattle panel, just to make space, free up this area, because in another month or so I'll be planting fresh cucumbers. But this is a cucumber from last season or from the fall, and I'm just going to leave it in ground just in case the seeds from it want to volunteer. I'll get cucumbers there. Sometimes volunteer plants are the strongest plants in your garden some of the times. This is a broccoli plant right here, which I won't be removing. The reason why I won't be removing this broccoli plant, it has been shaded all fall, so it didn't get a chance to bear. I haven't gotten any broccolis off this one, so I'm just going to leave it, see what I get from it throughout the spring months. However, if you're short on space, take that out. Don't leave it in your garden for spring. This corner of my garden during the springtime, it doesn't get a lot of sun, so I'm gonna cut these back. These are some mint plants, and I'm just gonna cut them back heavy for the spring months right here, just for this bed to get more sunlight. Over the years, I've noticed that whenever I plant brassicas on this side, because of the shaded tree and everything that is here, it's a bit of a struggle, and I want to use almost every square inch of this garden. So that's another thing you guys have to know. No matter what you see on the internet, you have to know your garden also. So you have to take time out and know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So spend a little time in your garden every now and then. Look at it each season and see what you can tweak. This is what I'm doing here. Everything just didn't happen overnight. It took some time, and even then I'm still tweaking it to this day. This is another one of my tomato plants. I didn't remember to show you guys the other day when I was doing the propagation. But these tomatoes are from the 2019 batch of tomato that I got. Those variety, or this variety, is a set of tomato I bought at Home Depot back in 2019. They are the Kentucky beefsteak. Over the years, the flavors has changed a little, in my opinion. I'm not sure if because I've been propagating, but it is unique to my backyard now. This is my tomato now. Something that I learned this grow season, and I'm not sure if I'm sharing it with you guys or if you guys know it already, but is that the broccoli plant, the stem area right here of the broccoli, can be eaten. A friend of mine shared that recipe with me, and I tried it, and it was so delicious. So what you do, you just go in where you harvest the broccoli, you cut all the way down where it's soft, not down to the hard barky part, and you can just cut it up and prepare it just like how you would prepare the broccoli. It's quite delicious. We cut all the way down into a lot of the plants and use the stem area. We did it with chicken breast and the entire family enjoyed it. This is that broccoli plant that we uprooted. I'm going to put it in this bag right here. Broccoli was here before and I've gone away with it, so we can replace it with this one, and that should be good. A family of squirrels, they are finding interest in my papayas, so they're eating up a few of the papayas, but that's no problem. They're a part of the ecosystem and I'll just leave them to harvest what they can. All I have to do now is to start picking these papayas when they're full instead of leaving them on the tree to be ripe. Maybe I'll just leave one or two on the tree for the squirrel to come and get. This will keep them away from other things in my garden. So this is just me preparing my garden for the spring months to come. There are many different ways to garden, guys. So if you have other ways of gardening, go ahead, do it. You can mix in what I'm doing with your style of gardening, but no two gardens are the same. Be aware of that whenever you're gardening. These tips are just guides and also what I'm doing in my garden. Nothing here is gospel. So that's gonna be it from Country Morrow. God bless you all. See you in the next one. Happy gardening and cheers.